All right, good evening. Good evening and welcome back to JPC Spiritual Talk. It's Jared Campbell. So this evening, global tensions escalate, potential for World War III as conflicts erupt in the Middle East and beyond. As we sit here and as the world stands on this unprecedented conflict, as these tensions escalate across multiple fronts, threatening to ignite a global war. In the Middle East, the assassination of the Hamas leader, Ismail Haniyeh, has sparked a volatile alliance against Israel, with Iran, Syria, Yemen, and Iraq reportedly considering strikes on Israeli soil. Amidst these developments, Israel's on high alert, with 70,000 people fleeing Tel Aviv as airlines cancel flights to and from Ben Gurion Airport. The situation is also further complicated by Israel's open call for NATO to expel Turkey, likening President Erdogan to Saddam Hussein, and warning of potential conflict escalation. The red flag of revenge raised by Iran signals an ominous threat. At the same time, U.S. and Canadian fighters intercept Russian and Chinese bombers near Alaska, highlighting the broadening scope of international tensions. Turkey orchestrated a historic prisoner exchange, and a rare moment of cooperation amidst chaos, marking the most significant exchange since the Cold War. The possibility of World War III looms as the world watches and waits, with the geopolitical landscape shifting under the weight of these converging crises. We're going to ask our Lord, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. I'm going to ask Christ, my God, without you, I can do nothing. Please help me with this task that I'm about to complete. Keep me truthful, keep me honest, and keep me objective to the facts and sources. And always keep me as the apple of your eye. And great is truly your faithfulness. And we pray all this in your holy name, in the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, now and forever, into the endless ages. Amen. The Lord is our shepherd. All right, so let's jump into this. So we got a lot to cover. So as I'm sharing the screen over, we're going to start out first by talking about Israel and just kind of go through the line. As I share the screen over, a lot of stuff on your screen, it's just there for visual, okay? So you have something to look at. So the gray flight from Ben Gurion Airport, 70,000 leave Tel Aviv, issues of days, the conflict with Hezbollah. So airlines cancel flight to and from Tel Aviv, Israel on high alert. So the recent surge in tensions in the Middle East has led to a significant departure from Ben Gurion Airport in Tel Aviv, with approximately 70,000 people attempting to leave Israel. The mass departure is fueled by heightened fears following the assassination of key figures from Hamas and also Hezbollah, leading to increased threats of retaliation from Iran and its allies, meaning also its proxies, right? So key points: assassinations and retaliation threats. The confirmed killings of Hamas and Hezbollah leaders have triggered severe threats from Iran and Hezbollah. Although Israel has not confirmed the assassination of Hamas political leaders, Ismail Haniyeh, the situation has escalated. Airline cancellations. In response to the increasing threats, numerous airlines have suspended flights to and from Tel Aviv. Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu has assured the nation of Israel's readiness to respond to any attacks, both defensively and also offensively. He emphasized the country's preparedness for various scenarios and highlighted the significant blows dealt to their enemies, particularly mentioning the elimination of Fuad Shukr, if I said that right. International concerns. The growing conflict has attracted international attentions, with Netanyahu planning to discuss the escalating situation with U.S. President Joe Biden. Israel Airlines, Arkia, has announced additional flights to accommodate the high demand for departures from Tel Aviv, particularly to Athens. The security situation in Israel is precarious, with high alert levels due to potential retaliatory attacks from Iran and its proxies. The cancellations and rerouting of flights, the rerouting of flights create significant challenges for travelers, many of whom fear being stranded. The developments could impact Israel's diplomatic relations, particularly with countries concerned about the region's stability. The situation at Ben Gurion Airport highlights the broader regional instability, the direct impact of political and military actions on the civilian life and international travel. As Israel navigates these tensions, the international community remains watchful for potential escalations and their global repercussions. So here, people at Ben Gurion Airport. And of course, it's going to make me
كم بس انت اوتو دلوك كخا هاي دخلونا على المطار زي ما انتم شفتوا تركنا سيارات تركنا تاكسي هاي لما بدنا نطلع على المطار ونخلص هاي المطار يا حبيبي يا ربنا السيارة ضلت مفتوحة كلها مفتوح كان
as we can see in Israel. So the New York Times. So a report from the New York Times reveals significant details about the assassination of the Hamas leader, Ismail Haniyeh, in Tehran. Contrary to initial reports that suggested a missile strike killed him, the New York Times, however, citing Middle Eastern officials, claims a remote control bomb was responsible for his death. Here are some key points. The bomb that killed Ismail Haniyeh was planted in the hotel where he was staying. It was a device smuggled into the building approximately 2 months before the assassination. Wow. Remote detonation. The bomb was detonated remotely, killing Ismail and his bodyguard. This method is compared to the assassination of the Iranian nuclear scientist back in 2020, which involved a remote-controlled machine gun. Wow, interesting. Minimal building damage. The explosion caused minimal damage to the building, such as shattered windows and a collapsed wall section, indicating a precise but contained blast. That makes sense? Unlike what was expected from a missile strike, right? Pay attention to details. Location and context. The bomb was planted in a guest house belonging to the Iranian Revolutionary Guards, a location used for secret meetings and high-profile guests. Ismail, he had arrived in Tehran to attend the inauguration of Iran's new president just 1 day before his assassination. Israel's role. Although Israel has not, now listen attentively, although Israel has not officially claimed responsibility, the method and precision of the attack bear similarities to previous operations attributed to Israeli intelligence, particularly Mossad. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu stated that Israel has struck its enemies hard and is prepared for any scenario, hinting at Israel's possible involvement without direct confirmation. The assassination of Ismail via remotely detonated bomb signifies a high level of operation smartness, right? It shows that it was well planned and executed intelligent operation. Using such a method within a secure facility in Tehran underscores vulnerabilities and suggests a significant breach of security within the Revolutionary Guard ranks. Given the high-profile nature of the target and the method employed, this event will likely escalate tensions in the region. I say it will. So here was where he was staying. Here's a picture. So let's move on. We have a lot to cover. So the flames burning, alliance against Israel from Iran, Syria, Yemen, and Iraq. They are considering a strike on Israeli soil. So here are some more recent developments in the Middle East. Suggests a growing alliance among Iran, Syria, Yemen, and Iraq, aiming to retaliate against Israel following the assassination of the Hamas leader. Here's some of my key points. A coalition led by Iran, involving Syria, Yemen, and Iraq, is reportedly discussing retaliatory measures against Israel. This alliance consists of various militias and state actors opposed to Israeli policies and actions. The coalition is considering a direct strike on Israeli soil in response to the assassination, which they attribute to Israeli actions. This marks a significant escalation in the regional conflict. Iran's position. Senior Iranian military commanders and political analysts have indicated that Iran's retaliation will be served and more painful, will be severe and more painful for Israel than previous actions. They also mentioned the retaliation would surpass the response following the attack on the Iranian consulate at Damascus. And here's some historical context. In April, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps launched over 300 drones and missiles at Israeli in response to an airstrike on the Iranian consulate in Damascus. This suggests that future actions could involve similarly large-scale attacks. U.S. involvement. They also warned that any U.S. intervention in support of Israel could lead to significant consequences, including the expulsion of U.S. forces from Iraq and destruction of U.S. bases in the Persian Gulf. Calls for Western intervention. They also suggested that only the intervention of American and European powers could prevent a full-scale regional war, highlighting the potential for widespread conflict if the situation escalates. The formation of an alliance against Israel by Iran, Syria, Yemen, and Iraq represent a severe escalation of the Middle Eastern tensions. The assassination of Ismail Haniyeh has intensified calls for retaliation, potentially leading to significant military confrontations. The situation remains highly volatile, with the potential for broader regional implications if retaliatory actions are taken. Also, in other news, the deployment of 12 U.S. warships in the Middle East, including the Persian Gulf and the Mediterranean Sea, is underscoring the heightened tensions and the potential for a broader conflict in the region. Deployed forces. The U.S. has sent the aircraft carrier USS Theodore Roosevelt and its accompanying warships in the WASP Amphibious Ready Group, which includes more than 4,000 Marines and sailors. Get ready. Remember what the Serbian president said back in June? He said that World War III will start in 3 to 4 months. Right? So he said that back in June. I talked about that at the end of my segment last night. So Serbian president said that, and they're preparing. If you do the math, what do we have coming up? In 3 to 4 months, it still put us right before the elections. All right, so ships in the Persian Gulf. The USS Theodore Roosevelt is accompanied by 6 destroyers: USS Cole, USS John S. McCain, USS Daniel, USS Russell, USS Michael Murphy, and USS Laboon. The amphibious ships USS Wasp, USS Oak Hill, and USS New York, along with 2 destroyers, USS Buckley and USS Roosevelt, are stationed in the Eastern Mediterranean. Rising tensions. The significant military deployment occurs amidst escalating tensions between Israel and Iran, especially following the assassination of senior officials from Hamas and Hezbollah. On July 30th, Israeli warplanes struck the southern Beirut suburb, killing Hezbollah military chief. On July 31st, the Hamas leader, which we've been talking about, was reportedly killed in an Israeli airstrike in Tehran, which Hamas vowed to retaliate for. Potential for conflict. A substantial U.S. naval force aims to deter further escalation and assure regional stability. However, it also highlights the potential for an all-out conflict if retaliatory actions by Hezbollah, Hamas, or even Iran lead to broader hostilities. The deployment showcases the U.S. commitment to its regional allies and its readiness to respond to any threat against them. The position of these warships allows for rapid response to any developments. The situation in the Middle East remains highly volatile, with significant military assets from regional and international players poised for action. The deployment of U.S. warships serves as a deterrent and a show of support for regional stability and escalating conflict between Israel and Iran and their respective allies. Israel Foreign Minister, we talked about that in the opening. So the Israel Foreign Minister calls NATO to what? Expel Turkey. Let's go back here real quick. Nope, nothing really there. Okay. So the call for the Israeli Foreign Minister, Israel Katz, for NATO to expel Turkey represents a significant escalation in the already tense relations between the two countries. Tensions between Israel and Turkey. Relations between Israel and Turkey have been strained due to differing political and military interests in the region, particularly concerning Palestinian issues and Turkey's support for Hamas. Turkey has threatened to invade Israel. The Turkish president's rhetoric has made threats towards Israel, including invasion rhetoric, which Israel views as dangerous and proactive. I bet so. Call for expulsion. The foreign minister of Israel has urged NATO to condemn and expel Turkey from the alliance, citing his threats and aggressive stances. Diplomatic efforts. Katz has also called on diplomats to work urgently with all NATO members to address this issue and provides the need for a unified response. NATO dynamics. Turkey is a significant member of NATO, strategically located and with the second largest military in the alliance. Expelling Turkey would be unprecedented and could lead to a substantial realignment with NATO. Region stability. The call for expulsion could further destabilize the already volatile Middle East. Turkey's strategic importance in its military engagements in Syria, Iraq, and Libya add complexity to any potential NATO decision. Israel-Turkey relations. The move could lead to a complete breakdown in diplomatic relations between Israel and Turkey, impacting economic ties and regional cooperation. Here's some historical and political context. Comparison to Saddam Hussein. Katz comparison of Erdogan to Saddam Hussein, referencing the Iraqi dictator's downfall, is a solid rhetorical statement intended to highlight Erdogan's perceived threat and rally support against him. Historical tensions. While Israel and Turkey have had periods of cooperation, their relationship has been rocky, in particular since Erdogan's rise to power and his support for Palestinian causes. The call by Israel for NATO to expel Turkey is a bold diplomatic move, reflecting deep-seated tensions and strategic rivalries in the region. If taken seriously by NATO members, this could lead to a significant geopolitical shifts and further complicate the security landscape in the Middle East. However, given Turkey's strategic importance to NATO, such a move would likely not be easy, be very complex, I would imagine. In other news, the escalating conflict between Israel and Turkey has reached a new level of intensity, with recent statements by Israel Foreign Minister Israel Katz. We just talked about that. He likened the Turkish president to what? The former dictator, Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein, suggesting that Erdogan could face similar fate. Let's talk about the Turkish president's threats. He has made statements threatening that Turkey could take military action against Israel, referencing Turkey's previous military engagements. Israel's foreign minister responded by comparing him to Saddam Hussein, who was overthrown by the U.S. invasion in 2003 and was also executed. Katz also warned Erdogan to remember Saddam's fate, implying severe consequences if Erdogan continued his aggressive stance towards Israel. Here's some historical context. Israel-Turkey relations. Right, we've talked about that. Saddam Hussein reference, we've talked about that. Implications, yes, we've talked about all that. So as we continue to move on, I guess it's right there, right? It's how they were, it's right there in the tweet or something. So terror in the Middle East. The red flags of revenge was raised by Iran for the murder of the Hamas leader. So the raising of red flags in Iran is a significant and symbolic gesture that signifies Iran's intent for revenge following the assassination of its leader. Symbol of revenge, the red flag raised, which traditionally symbolizes a call for vengeance, indicates Iran's serious intent to respond to the assassination. Historical context. The act of raising the red flag has been seen in the past during times of significant conflict or loss, including after the assassination of the Iranian general Soleimani, remember him, and other significant incidents affecting Iranian interests. Official statements. Iranian president has vowed that Iran will defend its honor and retaliate against what it describes as a cowardly attack by occupying forces, indicating substantial likelihood of military and retaliatory action against perceived problems. Regional tensions. This escalation is likely to heighten tensions across the Middle East, potentially leading to increased hostilities between Iranian-backed groups and Israel, as well as the broader implications for regional stability. The situation will likely attract international attention and concern regarding the potential for escalated conflict, prompting responses from global powers involved in Middle Eastern geopolitics. The raising the red flag in Iran is a dangerous escalation of tensions following the assassination. The act, coupled with official rhetoric from Iranian leadership, suggests that retaliation is imminent, which could have significant repercussions for the stability of the Middle East. The international community will closely watch the development as Iran and its allies respond to this event.
وجعلنا من خير أعوانه وأنصاره وشيعته ومواليه والمستشهدين بين يدي دستات گره شده بیار بالا. رفقا میگن این پرچمم داره به اهتزاز در میاد. سلام میکنیم به همه تحت رایت آقامون. او لحظه این که میاد به خانه خدا تکیه میگه الا یا اهل العالم انا.
So the hunt has begun, right? So the hunt has begun. F-16s patrol Odessa and leave. Su-35 shot down with R-37 Ukrainian MiG-29 with a report firing range of 213 kilometers. Warning from Moscow to Ukrainian Air Force. So, the recent developments in Ukraine-Russia conflict indicate significant shifts in aerial capabilities and military dynamics. So the F-16 arrival. The first batch of F-16 fighter jets has arrived in Ukraine, confirmed by the U.S. official and highlighted by a Lithuanian foreign minister. These jets are seen patrolling key regions such as Odessa and Lviv. The international support. Ukraine's acquisition of these fighters is part of a broad coalition effort led by Denmark and the Netherlands. We talked about that before. With contributions from Norway. Talked about that before. The pledges includes 46 fighters, with Ukraine aiming for over 100 to enhance its air security. Training and integration. Western allies have been training Ukrainian pilots and ground crews, though the full operational integration of these jets will take some time. Air security. While the F-16 significantly upgrade Ukraine's Soviet air fleet, and analysts caution that these jets alone won't decisively alter the war's course. Their effectiveness will depend on integration with broader military strategies and defenses. The Kremlin's reaction. Russia has dismissed the F-16's potential impact, with Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov stating that these aircraft will be shot down. Russia maintains that Kiev's regime's Air Force will not gain a decisive advantage from the F-16s. Recent engagements. A notable incident reported by Russian media involves the Su-35S downing a Ukrainian MiG-29 using an R-37M missile from a record distance of 213 kilometers. This highlights the long-range capabilities of Russian missiles, their potential threat to incoming F-16s. Technological edge. The R-37M missile range of 300 kilometers represents a significant technological edge, posing a substantial risk to Ukrainian aircraft. Russian pilots have expressed confidence in their superiority and readiness to confront Western allied and supplied F-16s. Escalation risks, including advanced Western aircraft to the conflict, may escalate aerial confrontations, increasing the stakes for both sides. Strategic calculations. Ukraine's strategy must incorporate the new F-16s effectively, balancing offensive capabilities with enhanced air defenses to mitigate the threat from advanced Russian missiles. International dynamics. The situation underscores the deepening involvement of Western nations in the conflict, with implications for international diplomacy and potential future support for Ukraine. The development of the F-16s to Ukraine is representing a significant development in the conflict, potentially altering the aerial dynamics, but not necessarily giving them air superiority. Both sides are poised for intensified engagements, with advanced missile technology playing a crucial role. The situation remains fluid, with strategic decisions by Ukraine and its allies being pivotal in the coming months. Okay. The first sighting of the F-16s. All right, so Turkish troops are deployed in Somalia for 2 years. What is the mission for the Turkish force? This is an interesting development right here. Let's talk about this. So the development of Turkish troops to Somalia for additional 2 years, as approved by the Turkish National Assembly and decreed by President Erdogan, reflects Turkey's ongoing commitment to supporting Somalia in various security and development areas. Security and stability. The primary mission of the Turkish force in Somalia is to enhance security and stability. So that's what sources are saying. This includes combating terrorism, addressing sea piracy, preventing illegal fishing, and curbing smuggling and other threats. Training and advisor roles. Turkish troops will continue to provide training, assistance, and advisor services to Somalia military forces to strengthen Somalia's defense capabilities. This effort has continued since Turkey's military presence was established in 2017. The Turkish deployment will also support hydrocarbon exploration and production activities, with plans to search for natural gas and oil in 3 offshore fields within Somalia's maritime jurisdiction. Interesting. Turkey maintains its most extensive overseas military base at Mogadishu, highlighting the strategic importance of its presence in Somalia. The base is critical in training Somalia forces and supporting broader security objectives. Hydrocarbon exploration. Exploring natural gas and oil in Somalia waters is a significant component of Turkey's mission. This involves 3 offshore fields, with seismic activities planned to convert soon. The Oryx Reese survey ship will lead these efforts, supported by Turkish warships for security. The decree faced opposition from the Republican People's Party and a pro-Kurdish People's Democracy and Equality Party. One is called CHP and the other DEM, reflecting domestic political divisions over Turkey's foreign military engagements. Regional concerns. The Somalian region, which has declared itself autonomous, opposes Turkey's use of its territorial waters for hydrocarbon exploration. This adds a layer of regional complicity and potential conflict over maritime boundaries and resource rights. Turkey's extended military presence in Somalia underscores a multifaceted mission to bolster security, support economic interests, and enhance bilateral cooperation. While this development can contribute positively to Somalia's stability and development, it also brings challenges, including domestic opposition in Turkey, potential regional disputes over maritime boundaries, and resource exploration. The success of the mission will depend on the effective cooperation between Turkish and Somalian authorities and careful navigation of the regional dynamics. So, diplomatic feat with Turkish seal. The largest Russian Western prisoner exchange since the Cold War is underway. The recent prisoner exchange involving the United States, Russia, and several European countries marks a significant diplomatic achievement, which was hosted by Turkey. Historical exchange. The prisoner exchange is the largest since the Cold War, involving 26 individuals from various countries, including the US, Russia, Germany, Poland, and Norway. The exchange occurred in Ankara, with 10 individuals, including 2 minors returning to Russia, 13 to Germany, and 3 to the US. The operation was coordinated by Turkish intelligence services, showcasing Turkey's role as a mediator. Among those exchanges were high-profile detainees, such as Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gersevich, the former U.S. Marine Paul Whelan, the return of dissident Vladimir Kara-Murza, and other political prisoners was also part of the deal. Notable figures, right? There was one, was known as like a contract killer, right? Vadim Krasnov, I said that right, was included in the exchange. He'd been serving a life sentence in Germany for a politically motivated murder linked to Russian state orders. President Joe Biden praised the exchange as a diplomatic feat, highlighting the wrongful detention of these individuals involved. He emphasized the collaborated efforts of allies in reaching this agreement and condemned the show trials conducted by Russia. International context. The exchange occurs against the backdrop of heightened tensions between the U.S. and Russia due to various geopolitical conflicts, including the war in Ukraine. It showcases a rare moment of cooperation between two nations amidst ongoing sanctions and hostilities. Please click on the link for the full report, in case I missed some words, right? Turkey's role. So Turkey's involvement as a mediator in this high-stakes exchange underscores its strategic position in international diplomacy, especially in context involving both Western and Russian interests. The prisoner exchange represents a critical moment of diplomacy in a fraught international landscape. It highlights the complexities of the U.S.-Russia relations and the potential for cooperation even amid significant geopolitical tensions. The successful negotiation may also bolster Turkey's standing as a critical player in regional and global diplomacy, with implications for future negotiations involving Western nations and Russia. I know that we've talked about this before, about NORAD. The recent interception of Russian and Chinese bombers near Alaska by U.S. and Canadian fighter jets underscored the increasing military cooperation between Russia and China, and the ongoing vigilance of North American defense forces. Joint patrol. Russian Tu-95 and Chinese H-6 bombers conducted a joint patrol over the Chukchi Sea, the Bering Sea, and Northern Pacific Ocean near the U.S. state of Alaska. The Northern American Aerospace Defense Command, NORAD, intercepted the bombers with U.S. and Canadian fighter jets. The bombers did not enter U.S. or Canadian airspace and were not deemed a threat by NORAD. Duration. The patrol lasted more than 5 hours. And in certain stages, the bombers were accompanied by foreign government pursuit vehicles, as stated by the Russian Defense Ministry. The Russian Defense Ministry confirmed the joint patrol and emphasized the strategic nature of the bombers involved. Chinese Defense Ministry stated that the patrol was not aimed at any third party that complied with international law. So stated that patrol was not aimed at any third party that complied with international law and aimed to test and improve cooperation between the two air forces. Military cooperation. The joint Troll signifies the deepening military cooperation between Russia and China, particularly in regions of strategic interest like the Arctic and Pacific. Global security dynamics. The cooperation can be seen as a counterbalance to Western military alliances and activities, highlighting the shifting dynamics in global security. NORAD's role. NORAD's interception of the bombers reflects its high monitoring and responding and its ability to respond to potential threats near North American airspace. The intercepts of Russian aircraft in this zone are also common, indicating ongoing vigilance and readiness to respond to aerial incursions. The broader context, geopolitical tensions. The joint patrol occurs amidst heightened geopolitical tensions and increasing military activities in the Arctic due to climate change and the opening of new sea lanes and resource competition, so they say. The Pentagon has expressed concern over increased Russian-Chinese cooperation in the Arctic, emphasizing the region's strategic importance and the need for preparedness against potential actions. The interception of Russian and Chinese border bombers near Alaska, the U.S. and Canadian fighters, is a notable event that reflects the complex and evolving nature of the global military alliances and tensions. The increased military cooperation between Russia and China, in particular in strategic significant regions like the Arctic and Pacific, presents new challenges and considerations for North American defenses and global security dynamics. Let's see. All right. Now we're almost done. It's the last thing we're going to talk about. Romanian Gepard shot down Russian drones on the banks of the Danube River over Ukrainian airspace. So an incident involving Romanians shooting down Russian drones near the Danube River highlights the growing complexities of region security amid ongoing tensions between Russia and Ukraine. Here are key details. Drone interception. Romania has reportedly engaged and shot down Russian drones that were operating near its border with Ukraine, especially in the vicinity of Ismail. Ukraine's largest port on the Danube River. The anti-aircraft guns used are believed to be the Gepard systems, known for their effectiveness in countering aerial threats. A Russian drone reportedly entered Romanian airspace and crashed on Romanian territory, prompting authorities to investigate for fragments and potential damage. Following the drone incident, the Romanian Ministry of Defense ordered investigations to locate any remnants of the drone which had caused a fire in a nearby forest. NATO has stated that there is no evidence indicating that the drone crash constitutes a deliberate attack on NATO territory. However, they deem Russia's actions irresponsible and potentially dangerous. They're trying to avoid a conflict, right? Regional security concerns. The incident underscores the heightened security concerns among NATO member states, especially those bordering Ukraine. It raises questions about the potential for escalation and accidental confrontations. As a NATO member, Romania's proactive response to the drone threat highlights its commitment to the alliance collective defense principles and its readiness to engage protective actions. The incident raises the risk of miscalculations or unintended consequences, mainly if further drone excursions occur or if there are responses from Russia. It also advises the fragile state of airspace security in the region. Public awareness of such incidents incidents can influence domestic perception of security policies and the need for enhanced defense capabilities among NATO members, particularly in Eastern Europe. The international community will likely the international community will most likely closely monitor any developments in this incident and could lead to calls for enhanced surveillance and defense measures along NATO's eastern flank. The shooting down of the Russian drones by Romania near the Danube River signifies the intense and precautious nature of security in Eastern Europe amid the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine. While NATO has reassured that there is no deliberate attack on this territory, the situation highlights the need for heightened vigilance and a coordination among member states to prevent potential escalations and assure regional stability. I think so. We're almost done. Look at some of these videos of them hitting that, blowing up.
Sai că mai vine una. Sai că mai vine una. Sai că mai vine una. Hai că mai vine una. Ia auzi-o. Se aude?
Now, originally, it was reported that this never happened, but now they're saying it did. Interesting. All right, let's check our time. Oh, it was kind of a big report, wasn't it? So thank you all again for following. I hope you got a lot out of that report. Took some time on this. These are some of the biggest things going on right now, right? And when we look at what the Serbian president said, that World War III could start in 3 to 4 months, he said that back in June, right? So the time could be any now. It could be now, could be sooner, could be later, right? But with our elections coming up, it could start before then, right? And what will happen to our elections if we end up in World War III? Just think about that. That's all I have. Thank you all again for following. Love you all so much. JPCE Spiritual Talk. Never, ever hold back. Seek truth. Love you all. I'm out.